First, before I start this video, I want to say I literally just finished my interview 5 minutes ago. Like, I finished it and then actually put real clothes on and brushed my hair so that way I looked somewhat presentable, because it was a phone interview. So, and it is still early in the morning. So, also, I would like to say the reason why I haven't had a lot of videos recently has been because of a number of different reasons, but we do have lots of exciting things happening coming up soon with Dapper Day, and a couple of other fun things like Easter's coming up, and then May we have Jared's family is coming, and then my friend Stephanie is coming as well, so there's going to be fun videos involved with that. And also then of course my marathon training. So like this month right now is going to be kind of slow. That and spring break has been kind of crazy lately, and it's finally starting to slow down a little bit, so we will actually be able to go and have the energy to do things now, especially with Jared's schedule and my schedule finally syncing back up again. But I have a couple of things that I'm going to say in this video. This is also kind of like an update on interviews and transfers, but first I wanted to talk about my children's activities interview and what I did to prepare for the interview and so on and so forth. So okay, they're just driving away. I'm like, are you really gonna mow the lawn now? That's another reason why I haven't vlogged, is I have been really nervous about this interview. If you haven't or don't know what I'm talking about, go and watch my last vlog. It's like very upsetting news and very good news. I won't go into it now. Go watch that video if you're wondering why this whole thing was a very emotional big deal for me. That's fine. But anyway, so that said, I was very anxious about this whole thing, just because my motivation to go to work has been the thought that I won't have to be there very long. And it's literally made me feel more positive about going to work. It's like, enjoy it while you can type of a thing, instead of a I'm stuck here type of a thing. So I've just been really anxious about this, and I haven't thought about it, or I haven't wanted to think about it. It's been more of a please pay for me, please pay for me, please pay for me type of a thing. And I'm just thinking about it makes me ugh. But I still have like the adrenaline going through my body. The interview was nothing like I expected it to be. I want to throw that off. And this was a primary interview. This is a primary. She described it as a phone screening type of a thing. The secondary interview is like your actual interview for whatever. And I will get into that in a second. Well, I guess I can say that now. So yeah, your primary interview is your phone screening. Your secondary interview is like a legitimate face-to-face actual interview. And not all transfer roles require one. For example, like going from merchandise to attractions, a lot of times you don't need it. If you were going from attractions to entertainment, you may need it depending on what entertainment you're going into. Children's activities, recreation, I believe, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, obviously, and there's a couple of others that require a secondary interview as well as a primary interview, that phone screening, which I believe they say in the actual role description what it is. And she implied that, I wasn't sure how I know she was just being very informative, and it was a very generic phone screening interviewer, and I know she wasn't trying to be, you know, aggressive or anything, but she did imply that she's like, remember to read the description, the phone description on the website, on the Transfer Genie, and look into what's needed. And I'm like, I have looked into it, it's just been a while. And yes, I probably should have, as with my, there are sirens going off in the distance, please ignore them. I probably should have looked into that right before the interview, because like I said, I haven't been thinking about this for like a week because it's made me anxious. So this morning what I did in preparation, goodness gracious, is I made a document online, and I basically, because I've done interviews before, and I was trying to remember my interview from the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique years ago. And so I know they basically will ask you generically, remember this is my secondary interview I'm thinking of, like where you've worked and what you've done. the basically tell me a little about yourself question. And then for children's activities, you know, what did you do with kids? You know, why do you think you're, you know, qualified for this job, type of a thing, that kind of question. Why do you want to work with kids? And then, of course, the generic turning a loss into a win. Anything in Disney, anytime you're going to go up somewhere, anywhere in Disney, they're going to ask you how to turn a loss into a win. Basically, how to turn a bad situation into a good situation, how to, you know, fix a problem, type of a thing. And I literally wrote this entire thing this morning about it, and I wrote out, not word for word what I said, but basically like generic points for me to go over, so that way I would be in the right, like, wouldn't stumble over my words, making sure I'm saying all the information that I need to, because typically they ask a question, they let you talk, they wait until you stop talking, and then they ask another question. So I wanted to make sure that I had all of the points out that I needed and all this other stuff. Which is why it's funny that I did all this, because I like prepared basically for the secondary interview pretty much. And I guess in some ways a lot of the stuff that I said did help at least get me in the right mindset of what to say, because she did ask, it was really interesting. She asked, like, her first question was, where are you working now? And I was like, that doesn't really have a whole lot to do with what I'm talking about. So she asked me, where are you working now? I said Frozen Sing Along. And then she asked me what I do or why I like working there. I can't remember exactly which one. It was like, what do you do? Why do you like working there? Or like, what makes it special? I can't remember exactly what she said, but I basically told her, like, you know, we load theaters. I really like loading theaters because everything's kind of like on a schedule, and there's kind of like a flow to everything, which I know does not qualify for children's activities, but that's my honest answer. That's how I feel about it. And then, so I tried to put a little spin on it in saying, because it is Frozen themed, and even with PhilharMagic, because I did mention working at PhilharMagic, the magic of it, like, you know, getting the kids involved in it, getting the guests involved into the story. I like that it's very story based. And then I said something about making special, like making the guests feel special, which I implied with the VIP seating situation. And then she asked about magical moments. And so I went into like our little very rare and random magical moment that we do, which is the Snowgy scavenger hunt, which I cannot tell you the last time we actually did it, but that is our magical moment. So I tried to hype that up. And so I went on to that, and then she went into saying, you know, you do have to have at least 2 years experience working with children. And that made me nervous because I haven't had any paid experience working with children. All of my experience has been volunteer. Well, I mean, besides Disney working with children. And so I said, and I had mentioned somewhere along the way working at Bibbidi Bobbidi or working at the Ice Palace Boutique, so that way it's like I have worked with children, you know, one-on-one. But she said either in camp or daycare. Now I haven't done daycare, but I did do a summer as a camp counselor with our church. And then I tried not to say with our church, so that way it sounded like, I would try to make it sound as official as possible. Not that my church isn't official, but you know what I mean. And I told her about the Awana programs. And when I said Awana, like I said I worked in a scout type program, kind of like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, called Awana. And I heard her go, oh yeah, like she knew what it was. And then when she said that, I was like, well, I'm gonna milk this. So I was like, I worked from, and this is true, I worked from middle school to college. I was like, when did I stop doing Awana? Pretty much until I started working at Disney, which is true. And I would be involved in some sort of Awana children's activities program, whatever, if work wasn't so crazy. And she loved everything that I said about that. And then I told her with camp counseling for the summer, I worked with teens. So I basically covered every possible thing. And then I told her what I did with that, like leading games, storytelling, so on and so forth, leading the kids from one area to another, and so on and so forth. And she loved all of that, which made me feel a lot better, because in the beginning I felt very like like, this is not what I prepared for type of a thing. And she took me very off guard. Not that I was like stumbling over my words, I wasn't. I answered her questions, you know, like her questions were simple enough. It just wasn't what I was expecting. And so, but like, I'm glad that I did prepare this in the sense of wording things and pinpointing certain things that they would like to hear, which are true, just like, you know, making your resume polished a little more type of a thing. And so she went into that, and then what I liked is, because I've literally stayed very few times in the actual Disney resorts. That said, I haven't spent a whole lot of time really exploring what the resorts have to offer. That's actually my husband's and my favorite thing to do, is to explore what resorts have to offer that's like free type of thing, like the yoga sunrise type of stuff that they do. And so I don't really know a whole lot about children's activities other than their activities you do with children. And, you know, Disney provides them type of a thing. And so she went into very in detail on how different areas that I had listed actually have certain programs. Like there's like a pirate night thing, and then there's like a boat where you take the kids out on a boat at like the beach club, I think, and or at the boardwalk. I can't remember which one she said, but like these are like very elaborate, special, big Disney things. And there's like a kids club somewhere that she was talking about, where it's like it's not babysitting, but like the kids like register the kids and drop them off to kind of sit and play. And there's like video games and movies watching, and it's just a lot more than I expected. There's dance parties, she said, where I could teach dance different things and like lead kids in movie nights and stuff like that. And I was like, she was listing all these things, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. But I was like, I wanted her to make sure that I knew that all of it sounded exciting, which it does. It was a, ooh, that sounds like fun type of a thing. And I told her, I said, like, I didn't know a lot of the things that you just said, but it all sounds very exciting to me. So I want this even more type of a thing. Just even thinking about it now would be so much fun. And so, but what I thought was really cool about the whole thing is she wasn't a children's activities interviewer. She was just a role interviewer, very generic. And so when I mentioned, because she asked me, one of the questions she did ask, that now that I remember where Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique came in, she asked me what my dream role was, which was another question that I was not expecting to hear from her. She's like, what's your dream role? What is your dream job here at Disney? And I said, I would love to work at the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. And then that's when I led into working at the Ice Palace Boutique. And then that's when she said, well, it does seem like you do have a secondary interview here you're on the secondary interview list, is what she said. And the more she went into it, she basically said, when you go to secondary interview required, that means when you go from active list, wait list to secondary interview, that means that there are people interviewing or getting ready to interview people for that role, which basically means there's a spot available. And so she basically hyped up the fact that I should definitely keep an eye out for an email or a contact or something for that secondary interview. She basically implied like that's gonna be a possibility here soon. Like that may happen, which like got me so excited. I was like, I know we're interviewing for children's activities, but I want this so bad. So that is very exciting, and I can't even talk about that anymore because I'm gonna cry because I can't even process the fact of me getting that job. Anyway, so yeah, we talked about that, and then she told me like, you know, that this was a basic phone screening, and that now I would be on the active wait list and wait for that secondary interview. And then she said that it may take a while. Again, secondary interviews are for when they have a spot available and they're looking for people and interviewing for people. And she did, of course, imply that children's activities is one that needs a secondary interview. So that's where we are right now. I am very excited for what's to come, especially the fact that I could be working in the castle, doing my dream job, my dream role that I've been wanting to go back for almost 2 years now. That like blows my mind. And I really do like the idea, even if I don't get Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, I do like the idea of getting to do children's activities. It sounds a lot more exciting than I was expecting. And talking to my friends, because I've just started telling my friends at work about this, and everyone like gets a big eyed and like, oh my god, you'd be perfect for that. And that is so encouraging to me. And just the fact that like I could be doing something that I actually am passionate about. Like, I love kids, I love families, I love making them smile and bringing them joy, and to me, like, smiling and waving at them and welcoming them into a theater doesn't feel like enough sometimes. I know, like, there's 1,000 people that I load in that theater every hour, and like, a lot of them don't always say thank you, a lot of them don't always smile, but I know they're grateful for it, and I know that they appreciate it, because without us, there would be nobody to welcome them into the show, there would be nobody to seat them. But like, being able to work with kids, play with kids, get to know their names, and get to know them one-on-one, and know their likes and dislikes, and know about their family, and have that personal experience. Like, a lot of my best cast member experiences are those that, like, I had a 5-minute conversation plus with those people. Like, I remember the waiter that Jared and I had at Mama Melrose just a couple of days ago. Her name was Sarah. She's been working at Disney for almost 5 years now, and we had this long conversation about Galaxy's Edge and how we think Hollywood Studios is not prepared, but that's beside the point. But like, it came to a point where we were like, oh yeah, we need to order food. You know, like, those are the kind of experiences that I love as a guest and even as a cast member, you know, like being able to help plan their vacations or just playing with the kids, you know, like, those are my favorite experiences in any role that I've ever had working at Disney. And the fact that I could have that in the boutique or in children's activities, and then the fact that children's activities is so different anywhere, any area you're in, is so cool to me, because that means that I can work in one resort and maybe transfer to another resort, like, and do something completely different. Like, that is mind-blowing to me. And I know I've rambled on for over 15 minutes now, but I hope that this helps you when it comes to whether you are a cast member getting ready to transfer or whether you are just a person interested in a Disney role. You never really know what the interviews are going to be like, because it's been a while since I did a phone interview, and the only phone interviews that I've had more often than not were the college program ones, which are completely different. It's just make yourself sound like an amazing person and an amazing server. Servant, whatever. But I am really excited about all this. Probably should eat something, but I think I'm gonna go for a walk just to get all of my jitters and everything out. I will say on the tag end of it, to help me get over my anxiety of waiting, because they were a couple of minutes late. They tell you they can be 15 minutes early or 15 minutes late. They were a couple minutes late. What I did was I had, because I didn't want to go far from my phone, because I didn't want to miss the phone call, I took my weights and I was like doing arm weights when I had like energy, like excess energy, so I did that. I listened to, while I was typing up my little notes that I'm going to keep, by the way, I was listening to ASMR videos to kind of just like chill out. I had the door closed, so it was just me and Kiki down there, just kind of chilling in here in our own little safe area. I lit some candles, just kind of made it a very relaxing area while waiting for my phone interview, which I know I'm not gonna be able to do all that for my secondary interview. I may end up pacing, who knows. But fingers crossed for Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Fingers crossed that I will get a transfer, whichever one it is, whether it's the boutique, whether it's children's activities. I just really need to get out of Hollywood Studios. I need to get out of Hollywood Studios. I do not want to go back to Magic Kingdom unless it's the boutique. And I am really excited about the fact of working in resorts. I've never worked in the resorts before, and I think that's really cool. It's a completely different kind of guest, and I'm looking for something a little different in my life. We've been working at Disney for over 5 years. No, over 5.5 years at this point, so I need to go somewhere else. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and if you stayed to this video to the end, like the video, and don't forget to subscribe, and I hope I will be bringing you more exciting videos here to come. See you in the next one. Bye!